This is the book of Luke, chapter 9 and verse 62. It reads, And Yahushua said unto him, No man, having put his hand in the plow, and looking back, is fit for the kingdom of the Most High. Shalom, shalom, yasha'Allah. Before I begin, I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Chakurash. Shema, Yasha'Allah, Yahweh, Allahayanawa, Yahweh, Achad. Shema, Yasha'Allah, Yahweh, Allahayanawa, Yahweh, Achad. Shema, Yasha'Allah, Yahweh, Allahayanawa, Yahweh, Achad. Double honor to my elders and apostles of the great millstone who rule, who teach all time of truth and sincerity. Peace, blessings, salutations unto the hopeful elect. Wa'akwat who are listening in truth and in sincerity. I'm the brother Gabar Allah with another lesson. All right, and this lesson is going to be entitled something along the lines of Spiritual Overview Behind Invincible, with the subtitle being Put His Hand in the Plow Looking Back. Now, I'm referring to Nolan here. All right. Now, when Lord willing, I find a clip and I put it back. But that last episode of Invincible, all right, at the time of this recording. It's I believe it's episode 7, all right, where it pretty much leaves off in the cliffhanger of Thrag and them going back to Earth. But that whole episode was very spiritual, all right? And you can make a boatload of lessons off that one episode, all right, let alone the whole series, because there's a lot of spirituality behind that series. That's why bros always tell you to, or brothers always recommend watching shows like that because it gives you a visual on what to expect. All right, and one thing that I want you brothers to pick up is that Thrag is like the only one that is wearing red during that time or during that episode. All the other Viltrumites are wearing white. That's their apparel. The apparel is white, signifying purity, or signifying, righteousness. And Thrag is the only one wearing red. Now, pursuing to this right here, or a matter of fact, that'll be another lesson. All right, but pretty much Thrag represents Yahushua in that episode or in that series. Okay, because he pulls up in a spaceship and all that, and his garments are pretty much dyed red. You see, but this um class is gonna be a quick one on just pretty much emphasizing on Nolan. All right, pretty much putting his hand in the plow. Okay, and Thrag offers him, what does he offer him? He offers him that all would be forgiven. All would be forgiven and all they can just move on and rebuild. But Nolan says no, because he got attached to this world. Now I want to grab this AI overview real quick that I searched up on Google. It says, does Nolan turn from following his mission? And this is the AI overview. It says, yes, Nolan Grayson, Omni-Man, eventually turns away from his mission to conquer Earth for the Viltrumite Empire, though it is a slow process driven by his emotional attachment to his life on Earth. Okay? We are not of this earth, man. We have no reason to be attached to this earth in the sense that we are going to betray our our King, our Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Okay, now I'm going to go back to Luke 9 and verse, let me see. I'll start at verse 60. Yahushua said unto him, let the dead bury their dead, but go thou and preach the kingdom of the Most High. Now this was Yahushua speaking to I forget who he was. I believe he was speaking to James. Let me clarify. Let me just clear that up real quick. Uh, see in James and oh yeah, verse 54. Yeah, because it also mentions it right here in Matthew 8 and 18. But pretty much he was speaking, saying, let the walking dead bury the actual dead, because they're spiritually dead. Okay. But you have to go and preach the word of the Most High. I believe he's speaking to either James or John here. Um, yeah, Khan, I believe he was speaking to both of them. Mm. No, I'm sorry, Salaki. He wasn't speaking to. He was speaking to just I'm not gonna say random, but another individual because it doesn't specify. But pretty much saying, let the dead bury their dead, but you have to come follow me. Okay? Yeah, that's why I was a little confused because right here it says James, but it says a whole nother man here. Salakia. But right, it says verse 61, and another also said, Lord, I will follow thee, but let me first go bid farewell, which are at home at my house. So another person, all right, separate from this one who said that he has to go bury his father. This one is like, okay, let me just go say bye real quick to those in my household. And this is why Yahushua says it in verse 62. And Yahushua said unto him, No man having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of the Most High. Right, because here it is, Yahushua is telling you to come and follow. He's like, okay, you want to come and follow me? You're gonna have to forsake all of this. Right? It don't matter who the hell was waiting for you. I'm telling you to come follow me. You have to follow me. That's what I'm telling you to do. All right. And the same thing that the Lord is telling us to do now. Okay. The Lord is telling us to bid them to the marriage. That is our mission. Okay. That is our mission that we have been sent down here. Okay. But Nolan is likened unto one that looked back. All right. Just like Lot's wife. Lot's wife looked back. All right. She couldn't let go. Okay. And what happened to her? Real quick. Get that in Genesis. Well, I can get it in Luke actually too. Where it says, "Remember Lot's wife." Let me see. Yeah, this is probably better actually. Luke 17, and I'll start at verse 25. But first, but first must he suffer many things and be rejected of this generation. And as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the days of the Son of Man. They did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage until the day that Noah, Salakia, entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all. You see, because they weren't prepared. All right, Noah was already building this ark for years, and everybody was making fun of him, everybody was clowning on him, but he knew what was up because he had the message of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Likewise, also, as it was in the days of Lot. They did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they built it, right? And even Lot himself was little still kind of dragging his feet when the Lord literally told him to get the fuck out of there, right? The angels were like, "Look, we've been under strict orders to make sure that you're good. So you have to leave." Okay? And eventually, the angels pretty much pulled him out. Like, "Look, y'all gotta go." All right? And Lot was like, "Oh, well, we can't really go to the mountains, so can we go to this little city right here? I believe it was called Zoar, which I believe it means insignificant." But pretty much Lot was like, Salakia. The angel was like, "Okay, you can go there." All right. But the point being is that Lot's wife wasn't ready to just run for it. She was looking back. She was attached to whatever it was that was in this world. That's why it says. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. And we know that that's exactly what's going to happen unto Babylon the Great today. The Lord is going to rain fire and brimstone through Not only his laser beams from them chariots, but also the ICBM nukes. All right. Thus saith the thus even thus. I'm sorry. Let me start again, verse 30. Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed. You see, in that day, he which shall be upon the housetop and his stuff in the house, let him not come down to take it away. And he that is in the field, let him likewise not return back. Now I'm going to read that in the NLT. It says, yes, it will be business as usual right up to the day when the Son of Man is revealed. See, so people are gonna be just, it's gonna be like just, as it says, business as usual. They gonna be doing whatever the fuck they're doing until the Son of Man is revealed. On that day, a person on the deck of a roof must not go down into the house to pack. A person out in the field must not return home. That's why going back to Luke, what was it? 9:63. It tells you no man looking back is fit for the kingdom. You got to be ready to get out of there. You got to be ready to forsake it all. Okay? It says, on that day, a person out on the deck of a roof must not go down into the house to pack. A person out in the field must not return home. Now I'm going to jump back to the KJV. It says, verse 32, remember Lot's wife. You see that? Remember Lot's wife. Remember what happened to Lot's wife, as it says in the NLT. It says, verse 33, whosoever shall seek to save his life shall lose it, and whosoever shall lose his life shall preserve it. You see, and Nolan was seeking to do what? He was seeking to rid his old ways, to rid the what he was actually sent there to do. Okay? He forsook his calling. Okay? That's the only reason why he was sent on earth. That's the only reason why we are sent here, just for this mission. So if you get too attached to this world and the shit that is in this world, you're fucked. You're cooked, man. Now I'm gonna go back to the AI overview. It says key aspects of Nolan's shift. The initial mission. Nolan was sent to weaken Earth's defense, preparing it for subjection. You see? You see that? So Nolan was sent to weaken Earth, as we've seen. When Nolan was first there, what did he do to the Guardians? He was fucking shit up. That first season, he was cold. That's what he was meant to be. You see? He was putting in that work. All right? Similar like how the fallouts were. Those who were in this ministry who fell out. When they first heard this mission, they was down with it. Cool. Let me do this, let me do that. Cool, cool. Da 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 da. It was on fire, right? It's a turning point. After living on Earth for 17 years, marrying Debbie, and having a son, who's Mark, Nolan develops genuine feelings for them. He kills the Guardians of the Globe, but finds himself unable to kill Mark during their climactic battle, abandoning his mission out of shame and emotional conflict. Now, what's key here is that he got attached to this world, okay? But same thing with the two-thirds, all right? Those who knew this ministry, who were in this ministry, okay? Now, okay, let me see. Let me search this up real quick. Let me see. I'm gonna search this up out of curiosity, see what it says. Now, I'm gonna go back to here, but I have also this on standby. But going back to the turning point, it says he kills the Guardians of the Globes, but finds himself unable to kill Mark during their climactic battle, abandoning his mission out of shame and emotional conflict. Right, because he was not able to sacrifice. Okay, and what does the scripture say in Sirach 2 and 1? All right, real quick. It says, my son, if thou come to serve the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, prepare thy soul for temptation. Set thy heart aright, which means mind, and constantly endure, and make not haste in a time of trouble. You see that? And this is what Nolan didn't do. And this is what the two-thirds don't do. They don't cleave onto the mission. Cleave unto him, and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. All right? That's exactly what we gotta be. We gotta be on fire for the Lord at all times, being able to sacrifice. Because what did it say? All right, real quick in the in Matthew, yeah, Matthew 10 and 37. Let me grab that here. Yep. Now I'm gonna start at verse 35. Verse 34. Matthew 10 and 34. Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. You see that? And a man's foe shall be they of his own household. So here it is, the two-thirds, they mostly leave for what? Oh, my family, I don't spend time with my family no more, oh, this and that. Oh, my woman told me I can't be out here on Saturdays no more, da 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 da. All right, but what did the Lord say? Verse 37. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. Or he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. You see that? And Nolan looking at him in a spiritual lens, representing the two-thirds, they cannot do this. They love this life more. Nolan loved Earth more. That's why he couldn't stick to the mission. You see that? It says, and he that taketh not his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me. He that findeth his life shall lose it, and he that loses his life for my sake shall find it. Boom. There you go. All right. And what did the Lord also say? Um, because the Lord needed to make this clear, you see. So that's why he reiterated it a lot, okay, in different times, and he showed it many times that this has to be sacrificed, okay. What did the Lord tell Abraham to do? As soon as he gave him the promise and how the heir is going to be through his son and his seed and this and that, what did the Lord tell him to do with Isaac? He told him to sacrifice him. And you know that Abraham did it without hesitation because when the angel called him to stop him, what did he called him twice, saying, Abraham, Abraham, showing you that Abraham wasn't like shying away from it. He was ready to go. That gives you that sense of urgency. Like, oh shit, here he is. Hey, hey, man, and like, hold on, bro. You know. But this is Luke 14 and 26. If any man come to me and hate not his father and his mother and his wife and children and brethren and sisters, yea, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. And this word hate doesn't mean to actually hate them. It just means to not love them as much as you love the Lord. Or in Noah's case, love the mission. Okay? Because we have a mission that we have been sent here on. All right, and that is to bring out the elect. All right, bid them to the marriage. Okay, now it says right here, going back to a turning point, exile and redemption. Following his fight with Mark Nolan deserts his post on Earth and moves to the planet Thraxa, where he marries again. He has another son, Oliver, and abandons the goal of conquering for the Viltrumite Empire. Nolan eventually works with the constellation of planets to fight against the Viltrumites, actively seeking to redeem himself. Although he remains flawed and is a murderer, he actively rejects the brutality of the Viltrumite mission in favor of protecting his family. So there you go. Nolan is a two-third, man. It sucks to say because I actually fuck with Nolan, but hey, they gave you the better one, Thrag. All right, now I searched up why does Thrag ignore the others to target Nolan the most? Because you'll see that Thrag pretty much pulls Nolan to the side and tells him, like, look, I want you to pretty much tells him to repent. Like, all right. And that's why he says, the death of any Viltrumite, he's avoided me. All right, so then he fucking airbends and hits him with that uppercut, you know. But this is one of them. It says betrayal of the Empire. Thrag views Nolan and his son Mark as traitors who abandoned their duty and caused the destruction of the Viltrumite Empire, which Thrag saw as a direct attack on their culture and its leadership. And if Thrag, being, representing Yahushua in the show, we can see how it correlates. Okay? Because what do the scriptures say? Real quick. And then I'll probably close out on this. Um, you see. Well, actually, there's a lot of scriptures that pop up actually in my head now. Pull that up. Pull up. You see. Um, get that one. Yeah, I'll just grab these two and I'll close it out on these. This is First Peter 4 and 17. For the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of the Most High. And if it first begins at us, what shall be the end of them that obey not the gospel of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai? You see that? So it's going to begin with those who know. And if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? Wherefore let them that suffer according to the will of the Most High commit the keeping of their souls to him in well doing, as unto a faithful Creator. So you see that? If the righteous are scarcely to be saved, what is the end of these wicked ass two-thirds? Especially those who forsook the Lord. You see that? Who forsook the mission. And I'm gonna close out right here with, we always grab, but I'm gonna grab it again. Zechariah 13 and 8. All right. It says, and it shall come to pass in all the land, saith the Lord Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, two parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. Okay, so two-thirds of our people are going to die. Okay, plain and simple. And I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is my God. That's what's going to happen to the one-third. Those who do repent, who stick to the mission. Lord willing was edifying. Lord willing was uplifting. When he gave all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Chakurash. With that I say,